All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our virtual series, Charger Chats. I'm Michelle Farmer. I'm the Assistant Director in the Alumni Office. We're so glad you joined us during your lunchtime today. Today's chat is with UH Director of Student Life, Nikki Goode. Nikki has a bachelor's in communications from the University of Louisville, and she also has a master's in college student development from the University of West Alabama. She also has experience in public relations, admissions, recruitment, and student life, and she has been working at UH for almost 15 years now. Nikki will share today what her and her team are implementing to connect and create community with current Chargers during COVID-19. So just to let you guys know, we will let Nikki speak first, and we'll allow time at the end for Q&A. If you do have a question, you can use the chat function of Zoom to drop your questions in there, and we'll get to those at the end. So thank you, Nikki, for joining us. I'll let you go ahead and do your presentation.
Sure. So earlier in the week when I spoke with Michelle and with Karen, we talked a little bit about some of the areas that our alumni might be most interested in regarding what Student Life has been up to. And honestly, Student Life has really been trying to still connect and engage with our students as business as usual. So in terms of programming, we have a phenomenal programming board, the Association for Campus Entertainment, or ACE, as our alumni might remember it as. And they are not only doing programming on Wednesday evenings in the traditional sense like they would if the student was on campus, but they are now programming on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday evenings at 7 p.m. And the purpose of these programs is to really connect and just engage with our students, doing activities that hopefully those at home that are tuning in have access to and can participate along. So some of the things that the programming board has done: cooking class, we've done a couple of those. We had a bird demonstration with a student's pet that was pretty popular. Origami classes, that one was really well attended. Friendship bracelet making, a sign language class. So really just different ways that students can connect. Not a lot of a time commitment, but again, through the Instagram live feature, they're able to watch and then they can send questions in or engage in that way. So that's the number one way that we have really still been reaching out. The other ways in which we're doing connections, we started this year through our civic engagement and leadership programming, a group called Emerging Leaders and Lilac. And through those two organizations, students really expressed an interest in ways that they could share some type of commonality. So we decided to start a book club. And each month a book is selected, and not just those groups can participate, but we open it up to the campus. And so even though we are not physically on campus right now, this was an easy program to continue through virtual experiences. And the book that we chose this month dealt in relation to sexual assault awareness. It was called Know My Name. And students were able to purchase that book through a local bookstore or Amazon, Barnes & Noble, pick that up. And then each Zoom meeting that we host on Monday and Wednesdays covers a section of that book. And the participation through the book club has really been phenomenal. Not in terms of numbers necessarily. We've had probably 10 to 20 students that have participated through the virtual book clubs. However, the content that we're getting from that and those connections and the discussion has really been an amazing experience for all those that are participating. So some very positive feedback we're getting through the book club. We are currently in the midst of recognizing our outstanding student leaders. Right now, if you follow Student Life on social media, you are seeing those different categories that historically and traditionally we have presented the Sunday prior to finals. We definitely didn't want our student leaders to feel unappreciated, so this was the best way we could come up with to still maintaining that recognition and letting the students know how proud we are of the hard work that they've put in this year and the difference they're making on campus. So far we've released, I believe, 4 category areas of student award recipients. We have 3 categories that will be released today, and then tomorrow we have the 2 most prestigious awards that we give, which is the President's Award that Dr. Dawson will be presenting, and also the B. Jean Fisher Award, which is named after UAH's first Vice President for Student Affairs, and Dr. Motter will be presenting those tomorrow through our Instagram and Facebook accounts. So those are really just some of the ways that we have been connecting with our students. We are still asking students to register their student organizations for the next academic year, submitting week of welcome programs. We're still doing surveys and polls and having students connect in those ways. We just wrapped up our Student Government Association elections, and so we have a new president and vice president, and that went really well. And that really didn't change necessarily how we do things. We've always done an electronic vote, but we saw an increase in participants this year, so we were very pleased that more students were engaged in voting in that. That made us very happy to know, and we are still hosting Student Government Association Senate meetings through Zoom. So again, we really are just trying to not change any way in which we function, just the manner in which we're doing things so that students still feel connected and engaged on campus.
That's awesome. It sounds like you guys really are able to move forward and still make your students feel like they're part of the Charter family.
Certainly, that's what we are trying to do. We hope that they feel appreciated. We hope that they know that they are definitely missed. I will say that for me, I guess it's been a little bit of a challenge because our main role in student life is to program for our students and help them find ways to be connected to campus. So doing that remotely has been a little bit of a challenge, I think, for me and my team, but the students have been very, very receptive of all of the opportunities that we presented, and not just student life. I think across the board, everyone has really acclimated to this new way of programming and new way of connecting. And so our campus partners are hitting home runs too.
That's awesome. I definitely agree with you. I think that everybody's just embracing it and trying to make the best of it and just staying connected because that's how we're all staying sane.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, was there anything else you wanted to share before we opened up for Q&A?
I think mostly just making sure that all the alumni are aware that homecoming is right around the corner. And it seems like it might be a little bit far, but in terms of the programming and planning component, I know that we've already had a few meetings with the Alumni Association and the staff over there. And so we are gearing up for that. If you haven't already done so, please make sure you mark your calendars for September 30th through October 3rd. That is this year's dates, a little bit earlier than what we normally have. Had homecoming in the past, but because of the way fall break is and with the hockey schedule taking place a little bit later, this was the best option for our campus. So homecoming will look a little bit different this year. Again, earlier, not centered around hockey because of their schedule. And so we are disappointed that we won't be able to celebrate the hockey program during this time, but excited to welcome some other sports in that we don't normally have the opportunity to celebrate with soccer and volleyball.
Okay, awesome. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good. All right, we do have a question. One question is, do you notice new or different students reaching out and engaging with your office now that you are connecting to them differently? I know that we've probably seen some of that just from the alumni standpoint. So do you see that on the student life standpoint?
Absolutely. I think that, the students who show up to the events are the ones who are on campus, who live there, while not leading that to believe that there aren't commuter students that participate. There absolutely are, but predominantly we see mostly our residential population that are attending those activities and events. And we are seeing students who have not swiped in at events previously. It's a little bit trickier, I think, with social media in terms of the engagement when you're doing those Instagram lives and Facebook lives. You can't always tell who is popping on unless they are sending you a question or chatting with you. So you know that they've logged in to see what's happening, but you don't know how long they have stayed. Whereas in a physical program, you absolutely can monitor that. So
Right.
we are seeing just as much, and I would say maybe even a little bit more than what we had anticipated in terms of this virtual programming with student participation. But yes, absolutely, I think that we are attracting some students that maybe we don't attract on campus, which also leads us to believe that maybe our students like some passive programming. And so we are definitely open to doing some more of that once we return to campus.
Okay, that sounds good. I think we're kind of doing the same. We're monitoring alumni engagement, what we're trying to put out there to see how successful that is now. Is that something they're interested in once we return back to our new normal? So
Yeah,
that's good. All right, another question that we have is, you mentioned a lot of different resources that you're using with social media, the Instagram lives, and I know that when we talked personally, you talked about different things with comedians and different
Mhm.
entertainment opportunities. Are those resources that our alumni can use as well?
Absolutely. If alumni follow us on our social media accounts, they can certainly participate in any of those opportunities. What Michelle is talking about is through the programming world, the university belongs to an association called NACA, which stands for the National Association of Campus Activities. And that is a partnership that we have, or a membership that we utilize their services to help us find the different types of programs that we bring to campus: comedians, hypnotists, caricaturists, things like that. And so because we have gone to more of a virtual world, they are working with various institutions to provide some virtual programming so that students still have that content and can still be entertained from their homes. And so as we receive that information, we are posting about it. We're putting it on Insta stories and Facebook stories and making posts. And if alumni are interested in that, all they have to do, some of these have been Zoom, some of them have been Instagram live shows. You just log in and you can passively watch that just as you would come to campus.
Okay, that's awesome. I know that we're looking for different ways to entertain ourselves, running out of things to watch on Hulu and Netflix, so that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right, another question we have is, how can our alumni be supporting our students during this time?
That's an amazing question. I think first and foremost, any human connection right now outside of the people that you are living, eating, and breathing every day is awesome. So especially if our alumni were engaged students and members of student organizations or sponsored groups, if you have connections with those groups, send them a little message saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, would love to hear maybe some of the things that y'all are working on or some new initiatives. This is a great opportunity for alumni to make those connections with our current students. Students love to hear about the way things used to be, but they also love to see maybe some of the growth. And I think alumni oftentimes love to share their experiences and see how they started as maybe a foundation for something awesome and where it has gone to because of their involvement. And so I think it's a win-win for alumni and our current students when we can help foster those relationships. And now is a phenomenal time to do that through email, through social media, private messaging, however you want to make those connections. I strongly encourage our alumni to get involved and support in that way.
Thank you, Nikki. That's a great thing to do. Okay, one of the questions we had is, somebody is saying, could we begin some sort of mentoring or networking programming during this downtime that we have? And I think that's a great question. We actually do have a mentoring program currently through the Office of Career Services, and it's called the MAC program, or the Mentor at Charger program. And I would be happy to send you more information about that if you're interested. Nikki, do you have any other details about that? Or
I don't. Candace Phillips, who is our senior coordinator for career services, she would be the best contact for that. And so, Michelle, whatever information you have, if the interested individuals would like more information, I would strongly encourage them to reach out to Candace, and she would be able to make those connections.
Okay, good deal. I think that's great, though. Mentoring and networking during this time, I think, would be a great opportunity to leverage, like you're saying, during this downtime. So thank you for that question.
Also, I mean, again, that mentoring opportunity, we have so many students who look forward to their summer co-ops and their internships, and those might look drastically different this summer, and those experiences might change. So I think having connections with alumni who are out in the professional world, while it might not replace the co-op experience or that internship experience, it still allows them a professional connection, and that's so important to our students. We know how academically focused our group of individuals on campus are, and so anytime that there's an opportunity for them to learn a little bit more about professional experiences and opportunities, I think they would jump on that and greatly appreciate it.
Most definitely. They're definitely career driven, very motivated group of students. So, I guess another question is, can you talk a little bit more about homecoming? Has there been a theme decided, and where will the new king and queen be crowned?
Oh goodness, so many questions. So compliments of COVID-19, we have not done our homecoming theme voting just yet. We plan on doing that after finals wrap up. We'll send that out. Historically, we've allowed the first year students to decide that. That was a way to get them connected and engaged. During homecoming, they always voted over the summer during summer orientation. And since our orientation programs are being moved online, we're going to open up voting not only to those students who have registered for orientation, but to our student body. So once finals wrap up, we'll get that out. We hope to be able to announce that a little bit earlier, since it looks a little different. Orientations will be taking place in a different manner. And so look for that announcement, hopefully to be mid to late June. So again, earlier than normal. We usually save that and launch the theme right during, I want to say right after Week of Welcome, but because homecoming also is about a month earlier this year, we'll need to give students a little more prep time. In terms of when the King and Queen will be announced, that is a work in progress. If alumni have any opinions on that, Student Life is certainly open to hearing what those are. You know, we want to make sure that we don't lose that component. And like I said, fall break and hockey schedules just didn't align this year. So hopefully this will just be a one-time switcheroo where we won't be hosting it during hockey, and we'll move back to that next year. But again, we're open to suggestions. We're playing with the schedule right now. I know I've been talking to Michelle and Karen and brainstorming with some students about what would look best for the student population, but homecoming is for our alumni. So we want to make sure that we are certainly taking your opinions into account. So if you have those, share those. We are more than welcome to hear what you all would like.
We do have another question about homecoming.
Okay.
Will Midnight Madness come back this year?
That's up to the athletic department. Student Life is open to any and all types of programming. That is a staple program from the athletic department. And again, a lot of times homecoming doesn't align with what we're able to do in terms of Midnight Madness traditionally being an announcement of the basketball teams. Nationally, most of those programs take place on October 15th, and our homecoming will take place 2 weeks before, whereas the last few years it's taken place about 2 weeks after. So the teams have already begun practicing and whatnot. So again, we're working with a member of the alumni group, David Ivy, and he's put us into contact with the basketball coaches to start talking about that partnership. So I'm hopeful that we'll have something. It may not be exactly what we're used to in terms of Midnight Madness, but I'm hopeful that we can do something that ties athletics in that format.
Okay, that's great. I know that was really popular when I was on campus, so hopefully
Absolutely.
that's cool. More homecoming questions.
Okay.
One person wanted to know when there would be a calendar of events that would be released, as well as would there be any Greek-centric events? And that includes like just most of the Greek student body.
Sure. So with the Greek-centered event, that again, similar to my answer about Midnight Madness, that falls on the Greek population. A lot of times their alumni days come down from their national office, and so they don't have a lot of flexibility, but we always try to encourage all of our student groups, and our Greeks especially, because they do have such a large population of alumni that want to come back and be supportive, to try to center those activities into homecoming, because it's a win-win for the student group, for the alumni, and for the university. So we're hopeful that the Greeks will give that some more consideration, and if they can't per se hold their alumni days, that they do have some type of homecoming activities specifically for the former Greek students. So I think that answered the Greek component. And then what was the other part of the question, Michelle? I'm sorry.
When would there be a calendar of events that would be released?
Sure. Usually we release the calendar of events in around July. Okay. A lot of this just depends on how quickly we can get back to business as usual and work together and get some of these tasks accomplished in terms of narrowing down when would be the best time to crown the king and queen, and when will Charger Stomp take place, and what will the philanthropy look like. There's so many moving parts that require so many different campus partners. Hopefully we'll still be able to get that solidified and up on that website mid-July.
Okay, perfect. All right. So two other questions aren't related to homecoming. So we'll
okay.
Here's here. One person said that you did mention elections. Are you able to tell us who won the two major offices and any background information on them, like what college and just any details about them?
Absolutely. So we are lucky enough to have elected Jessica Hunter as our student government president. Jessica will be a graduate student next year. She will be graduating this semester once she wraps her finals up. And she is a member of the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. She has been involved in just about everything on campus. She has been president of Dance Marathon. She was an orientation leader for a couple of years. She is an ambassador for our Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion currently. So Jess has her hand in a lot of different pots. And then her vice president for the Senate is Grant Witt. Grant will be a senior, and I believe that Grant is in the College of Business Administration, although I could be wrong about that. And he is a member of ATO fraternity, and he has also been in the Senate for 2 years, and just this past year he was president, he was the speaker for the Senate. And so Grant, again, he's a great addition to the team. I'm looking very much forward to working with these two individuals. And they had their first Senate meeting Monday night. They were sworn in, and then they took over. And so we've had our first Senate meeting, and they'll be off for the summer. They'll host one meeting in May and then another meeting, I believe, in July. And then we'll kick things off like we always do as soon as we return to campus in August, and they'll meet every other Monday at 7:30. Those meetings are open to the student body, but also to alumni. If anyone is ever interested in what student government is doing, they are more than welcome to attend those meetings.
Okay, awesome. Well, I look forward to meeting those two individuals. It sounds like that'll be a good team.
Absolutely.
All right, I think the last question for our Charger chat today is, does Nikki know if those students who have remained on campus housing, did they ever get together? Are there any things they are doing outside on campus to pass their time? So I don't know if you've really been back on campus too much to see that, but do you know?
Sure. So I've only been to campus a handful of times. Student government operates a food pantry for students dealing with food insecurity. And so we have had several students who have reached out. And so the only time I've returned to campus is when it's been essential to help those students in need. I will say that campus, while it looks the same, it definitely feels different. There's just not that energy that is there because the students are under a stay-at-home order just like the rest of us are. The only difference is their home is their residence hall room. And so I have seen students when I've been on campus, I'm guessing they're walking from their residential hall over to the Bevel Center to have their meals, because that is where students are dining right now. They're getting carry out from Garden View Cafe. But there's not a lot of them. Of the students that were residential, I believe there were a little under or right at 300 exceptions that were made. So the campus population is not nearly what it is. I'm hopeful that they're doing what the rest of us are doing, which is trying to spend time outdoors and exercising and in the sunshine and taking walks, because my goodness, campus really is so beautiful. And it's a great way for them to explore and do things of that nature. But other than just those couple of opportunities I've had to go on campus to provide students with food, I really haven't been there to say.
I gotcha. All right. Well, thank you for sharing, Nikki. I don't see any other questions. So thank you so much for joining us for our Charger Chat today. And thank you all for those of you that logged into our live session. We appreciate you joining us. I will send the recording to everyone who registered, as well as a survey. So please fill those out, share your feedback. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And next week, we'll be joined by Coach Schulman, who's the head of the men's basketball team. And so look for the registration link for that chat early next week.
Y'all will love Coach Schulman. He is fabulous. You're going to love that. He is definitely a character. So enjoy your time with him. Yes, he is. He gives me a run for my money, and I think sometimes that's hard to do.
Yeah, so if you're having a down day, just tune in to listen to Coach Schulman. I'm sure he'll energize you and pump you up for your day.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. Take care, and everyone stay safe and healthy, and hope to see y'all soon.
Yes, you too, Nikki. Thank you all again. You all have a good day. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.